The NBC Peacock logo makes its debut on television in the United States. Marilyn Monroe marries Arthur Miller in White Plains, New York, and Dwight D. Eisenhower signs Federal Aid Highway Act, which would create the interstate highway system in the good old US of A. The year is 1956, and this Dodge Coronet Lancer two-door hardtop could be had at your local Dodge dealer. But before getting into all of it, I'm your host, Jay. Welcome to What It's Like, the automotive channel that digs the lost and mostly forgotten cars that are way cooler than anything on sale right now. We dive in on the history, specs, design, post between 4 and 5 episodes each week, with engine episodes generally on Wednesdays. If any of that sounds of interest to you, subscribe and hit the bell icon next to it to never miss a video. A couple of announcements real quick before getting into the meat and potatoes. Tomorrow, I will be at Auburn, Indiana, to check out the Auburn, Cord, and Duesenberg Shindig. It's currently going on, and it has been going on since August 29th, and it will be going on through the 31st, which will be tomorrow, Saturday. I will definitely be there. Old Car Festival is coming up next week, which is my favorite car show this side of the Mississippi. It goes on September 7th and 8th at the Greenfield Village, Dearborn, Michigan, right next to the Henry Ford. I hope to see you there. Also coming up rather quickly is Hershey. And this year, Hershey is October 8th through the 11th. If you see me at any one of those events, be sure, come up and say hi. 1956 Dodge model lineup was broken down into 3 model lines, all riding on the same wheelbase configuration, which was 120 inches. Coronet was in the proverbial basement, followed by Royal and Custom Royal at the top. Dodge also offered wagons in Suburban and Sierra. Both had custom models as well. There was also a truck line going half-ton all the way up to the big commercial. Dodge also offered a special trim tailored for women called the La Femme, painted in Regal Orchid or Misty Orchid. And yes, I've been looking for one. They are really hard to find, sophisticated, exclusively yours car that Dodge ads depict. The Dodge Lancer originally started off as Dodge's sophisticated name for their hardtop. Just like everyone else, Ford had the Victoria, Chevy had the Bel Air. Lancer was Dodge's hardtop. And they used this name to describe their hardtop from the late 50s until 1959-ish. There wasn't a Lancer in 1960. The Lancer came back as its own individual car from 61 to 62. Dodge would take a 2-decade hiatus and then would bring the Lancer back from 1985 through 1989. Dodge offered the Coronet from 1949 through 1959 as a full-size car. They took a bit of an absence, and then they would come back as a mid-size car from 65 through 76 in 6 generations. 1956 falls in the 3rd generation, which was produced from 1955 and 1956. 1956 Dodge Coronet was designed by our boy, Virgil Exner. Exner was head designer over at Chrysler from 1955 through 1962, and that era of cars from Chrysler is known as the forward look era. All new for all of Chrysler for 1956 across the board was 12-volt electrical system. Other options for Dodge included, but not limited to, power steering, power brakes, power seat, power window lifts were available, all at an added extra cost. Let's talk specs. 212 inches long, 74.6 inches wide, 58.9 inches tall. It rides a wheelbase of 120 inches. It weighs around 3,620 pounds. Price, $2,438, which would be equivalent to you spending $28,192.96 in the year 2024. Total 1956 production was 240,686 units. Of that number, total 56 Coronet was 142,613. Moving on to engines, which there were a ton of different engine options For Dodge in 1956, starting out in the proverbial basement, 230.2 cubic inch displacement, flathead 6, 3.8 liters. It's good for 131 horsepower at 3,600 RPM. Bore of 3.3 inches in a stroke of 4.6 inches. Compression is 7.6 to 1 with 4 main bearings. Moving on to the first V8 option, 270 cubic inch displacement, poly head V8, 4.4 liters. It's good for 189 horsepower at 4,400 RPM, 266 pound-feet, or 361 newton meters at 2,400 RPM, with a bore of 3.63 inches and a stroke of 3.256 inches. Compression is 7.6 to 1, 5 main bearings. When backed with a 3-speed manual transmission, 0 to 60 could be had in around 10.5 seconds. Theoretical top speed of 104 miles per hour, while achieving an average 13.7 to 15 miles to the gallon. And these numbers may very well vary based on rear end ratio, altitude, weather, and many other factors. Moving on to the second V8 option, 315 cubic inch displacement poly V8, 5.2 liters. It's good for anywhere between 218 horsepower with a 2-barrel carburetor, 230 horsepower with a 4-barrel carburetor at 4,400 RPM, 316 pound-feet or 428 newton meters at 2,400 RPM, with a bore of 3.63 inches and a stroke of 3.8 inches. Compression is 8 to 1. 5 main bearings. When backed with a 3-speed manual transmission, 0 to 60 could be had in 8.7 seconds, with a theoretical top speed of 120 miles per hour, while achieving an average of 12 to 15 miles to the gallon. Moving on to the biggest and baddest engine on offer for the Dodge Coronet in 1956. Same cubic inch displacement at 315. Hemi head V8, 5.2 liters. It was good for anywhere between 260 to 295 horsepower at 4,400 RPM. This would also be called the D500 package. 330 pound-feet or 447 newton meters at 2,400 RPM, with a bore of 3.63 inches and a stroke of 3.8 inches. Compression is 925 to 1 with 5 main bearings. When backed with a 3-speed manual transmission, 0 to 60 could be had in 7.8 seconds. Theoretical top speed of 125 miles per hour, while achieving an average 9 to 11 miles to the gallon. 3 transmissions on offer, 3-speed manual with overdrive, and 2-speed automatic power flight. I found this 1956 Dodge Coronet 2-door hardtop Lancer over at Motorcar Portfolio in Magnolia, Ohio, where this car is currently for sale, as well as they have some other really cool cars in their inventory. 4 hours of operation, directions to get the full scoop on this car and to see other cars in their inventory. Be sure to click the link below after the show. Let's talk styling on this absolutely gorgeous car, starting with the headlights. Notice the hood on top of those headlights. Lots of bright work on this car. Turn signal indicators right there. Just look at how it wraps around to the side profile. Look at how these bumpers peak in the center. Beautiful overriders and or bumperettes. Dodge crest nice and proud there in the center. Just look at all of the textures. Hood scoop. This one has a center line which starts right here. It goes back to the wraparound windshield. Very faint in the hood though. Dodge badging on the front nose of the car. Lancer script on the front fender. Also notice the wheel wells are flared. No rocker molding on this car. Nice wheel covers. This one has a cowl vent in the center. Small, slender, almost like a mailbox door slot. Windshield wipers are opposed. Just check out where the mirrors are mounted. Also check out how they are designed. This car does have drip rails, rain dam, and the drip rails run the length of the cabin and then go out. Also just check out all this textured effect here in the stainless. Also notice how this trim comes down. The rear fenders are also flared with this gravel guard piece. Just take a look at this back glass and how it also wraps around. The fins start right here. Also check out all of this sculpting inside the fender. I absolutely love this boomerang. It's almost like a forward look boomerang. Check out that bumper design with the overriders and or bumperettes. Coming back to this fin profile with backup lights, and brake lights. Look at that Dodge Crest. Gas filler is on the passenger side. Absolutely massive trunk. Bumper jack off to the side. Just notice how low the load floor is. Getting inside, but before we do, just look at this door handle and how it's designed. This door has a nice quality feel about it. Feels like a textured vinyl up at the top with just a solid vinyl at the bottom. Bright work separating colors and or textures. Armrest as well as door handle to pull the door shut, door handle to get out, window crank for the big window, which operates like this. Notice it's all framed out. Vent window. Coming down inside the pedal box down here. High beam switch, brake pedal, massive brake pedal, gas pedal, hand brake. Just take a look at this interior. Here is what over the hood looks like. Here is what first person would look like. Up. On to the button switches and knobs, starting on the left and moving right. Push buttons for the drive modes. Neutral at the top, drive, low, reverse. Notice there isn't a park, but we'll come back to that. Blower motor for fan speed, defrost. Amp meter, gasoline gauge, temperature control. Cooler is up, warmer is down. 120 mile per hour speedometer with odometer just below the needle. Oil pressure, coolant temperature, clock, ashtray, park, for you to put your car in park, you just simply slide it down. Off is up. Key, windshield wipers, lighter, radio. Above, there are sun visors. They are on the bigger side. Daytime, nighttime, rear view mirror and center with another sun visor over here for the passenger. This car is wide. I can't touch the other side. Also, just take a look at this seat. It's a cloth and vinyl mix. The top of the seat's vinyl, and the bottom of the seat is more of a cloth, but it's a super comfortable seat. Very plushy. On to the glove box test. Here's our test subject. Here's my hand for reference. Here is the glove box in question. So it kind of fits in the hole, but it won't shut. Getting in the rear, folding the seat forward. Notice it pivots out of the way, giving you plenty of access to get into the back. Here is what the front looks like from the back. Let's take a quick gander at the greenhouse ratio. It is really nice in this car. This is what visibility looks like out the back from the back seat. There is quite a big, yes, look at that absolutely massive parcel shelf. The back glass curves, so just look at how much you can see from the back seat. Creature comforts. There is a dome light on both sides at the top there. Ashtray, as well as armrest. The windows do go up and down back here, and they operate like this. Just look at that. Isn't that cool? That's a huge piece of glass. Yeah, a lot of engineering went into that. Let's talk about seat back profile back here. It does sit up rather straight, as well as dips in the back. But like I said, as far as space in the back in a 50s car, you can't beat Chrysler. Look at how much space that is. I'm 6'2" and I fit back here perfect. Coming to the under the hood section. And you pull it towards you. Here's the secondary catch. Pull it towards you. Alright, so under the hood, dual horns in the front. "12-volt battery system. This one's the red Ram, and it looks like the Poly. Single master cylinder, non-power assisted. This one's a single belt system. With a generator. Heater there on the firewall. On the positive side, 50s car that aged well in my opinion. Tastefully done with the chrome. Great fins and backup lights / brake light combination in the fins. This car has a really nice rear end. It's the type of car that will make an entrance without going through the wall like the Kool-Aid guy. Oh yeah. Spacious both front and rear. Full instrumentation dash layout is very nicely done. Huge trunk, tons of engine choices to choose from. Against it, not much. Lack of 3-speed automatic transmission. All right, now it's time for Would You Rather. 2 scenarios today. In the first scenario, would you rather have a 1956 Chevy Bel Air or 1956 Dodge Coronet Lancer or 1956 Ford Victoria? I'm going to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. On to the second scenario. 1956 Pontiac Catalina or 1956 Dodge Coronet Lancer or 1956 Plymouth Belvedere. Once again, go to leave this here for a minute. If you need more time, feel free, pause the video. All right, now it's time for Name That Tune. First person to get both the name of the band and the song title and the lyric that comes afterwards, after the part that is sung, first person to do that will have their comment pinned to the top of the comment section. Sometimes I feel. Figured they can't all be hard. Thank you all so much for coming out and watching this. If you'd like to get in touch with me, shoot me a comment in the comment section below, or check out our Facebook group that correlates with our YouTube channel. I will link in the description below. If you don't have Facebook and would still like to reach me, send me an email at what_it's_like@yahoo.com. If you see me out in Auburn tomorrow, be sure to say hi. Until next time, toodaloo!